Hi, I'm Phoebe. This is my YouTube channel, Dainty Pop Designs, where my passion for junk journaling, arts, crafts, mixed media exploration, and all kinds of arting fun comes to life. Join me today as we go through this big junk journal that I've just made. It's one of my favorite junk journals, and I can't wait to show you what's inside. Okay, so here we are. I think I posted this on Instagram. I called it my journal of 1,000 stories because this journal has actually been made and remade multiple times. I first did the cover, I think 3 years ago, and then it's kind of had a couple alterations since then. And I hated the way that it was bound, so I actually changed that. Originally, this was all dangling from the center of the spine, which was fun, but it made it awful for trying to work in it. So I took it apart, took all the pages apart, and started brand new. And I'm really excited to show you this journal because I think what I'm going to be doing is working on a regular basis inside this journal and showing you what I do as I progress. Because I haven't really had time to decorate it. I've done a couple things, but nothing really significant. So I'm excited to show you what I've been doing. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, so let's dive in. As you can see, this is just a general kind of collage of items, right? It's all kinds of things I love. I've got a vintage keyhole off of an old piece of furniture that I found in a junk shop, a vintage key, some buttons that I thought were cool, a Shabby Dabby Doo-Dah label because it kind of matched with the feel. There's some slow stitching on the front. I think this is a Tim Holtz element. I really just like to pile things together that I love. That's the best way that I can describe my style of junk journaling. Let's go ahead and dive inside. So what I've got inside on this first page, on the inside cover, I most likely will be adding a pocket, some envelopes, some embellishments, but I really was just trying to make something that I could have to work in. So I didn't really do a lot with it yet, but what I love about this journal is it's full of possibility. So we'll see what happens. And this first page here is on a piece of piano roll paper. It's just a basic, it's the very end of the piano roll that has this really cool eyelet and kind of cardboardy feel to it. And I just, to reinforce it because the paper's really delicate, I just glued it and decoupaged it onto some brown craft paper. And then I used that kind of as this first signature page. And as you can see, I've already done some collaging on this very first page. I've got some stamps and some napkins. And a lot of this journal is just about experimentation and seeing where it goes. So on this side, we have a front pocket. And this is kind of as I collect like random things that I want to use in the journal. I just tuck them into there so that I know where to find them. I've got some stamping here. This is just a piece of scrapbook paper that I've sewed around. I have added some die cuts to this pocket. I'm probably going to change this one. I'm not a fan. I don't like the color. We're going to make it gold maybe. But that's going to be part of the process of what I do with this journal on my YouTube channel, and you'll get to follow along. So that'll be really fun. So again, just some scrapbook paper. This is a digital, I believe from Digital Collage Club maybe, or Graphics Fairy, one or the other. There's a lot of different mixed up digitals here because again, I just collected a bunch of things that I love and put them together in a journal. So we've got some printed paper. This is just a fun little quick collage I made with an owl. I loved this imagery. I loved this dream stamp. I think this is a very old Tim Holtz stamp. I really can't remember. And I just kind of added it together. And you can see here along the page where I've reinforced a lot of pages with masking tape so that I can have a full 8.5 by 11 signature size inside. And then I've also gone through and I've created some flip outs and some flaps. So there's lots of things to inspire me. We've got some more craft paper. This is a botanical print, I believe, from Louisa Heinzel. Some notebook paper. We have another stamp. One thing I did do while I was adding the pages was just kind of sprinkle some of my favorite stamps through the whole journal. Some more scrapbook paper. This is another flip out with some of my hand dyed paper, and this is a vintage map of the British Isles. I used a lot of public domain images from like art museums, and like I think the Victoria and Albert has a really big collection of items that are just in the public domain that you can print and use. They're free to use. I love old vintage maps. I love like old kind of ways that they would list the British Isles or what have you. So that of course had to make its way into this journal. I have this old storybook page. This is like a 70s storybook, fairy tale storybook, and I loved the imagery. So this is definitely, you'll see a lot of these throughout as we go through, and it's got this little tiny bunny here that I just thought was adorable. Some scrapbook paper. I did start some flip ups here with some fairy imagery from, I think that's Ginger Journals, if I remember correctly. And this is all just kind of, like I said, you'll see a lot of fairies in my work. They're fun. I love fairies. I love the imagery. So that, of course, finds its way into here too. Some dictionary page that's been collaged with music paper and just a little, another, I think that's a Tim Holtz stamp. Some dyed paper, some more map, scrapbook paper, some stamping, little flower ribbon. This is all just pretty basic. I did do this little pocket. I think it was to cover up something that I did not like on this page when I was rebinding it. And I love this little guy because it's a little journal card. Isn't that cute? And then it just pops back into the frame. And I think we've got maybe a Tim Holtz frame, I think from like Eclectic Elements or whatever the collection is. It might have even been Halloween. And then these are just some tabs that I made from a Louisa High School video. This is actually a vintage Victorian die cut, and it's, you can't, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but it's got German glass glitter on it, which is another thing that I love. So that made its way into the journal as well. Some fun, really bright scrapbook paper. I couldn't go without including some bright colors because that is something that I do love. I've got this little butterfly cluster, just random little elements. Little stamp of a leaf on the page there. Can you see that in gold? It might not come up and be picked up on the camera. Let's see, some more scrapbook paper. And then I think this is, yeah, this is just some collage. I think these are digitals. I'm pretty sure these are digitals as well that are already collaged together, and then I just added them onto a page. Some vintage lace, some more craft paper coated with gesso. This is dyed paper, I think, with brusho. It's the back of a scrapbook paper. I love doodling on book pages, so of course that found its way into here. Some scrapbook paper. I have an overabundance of scrapbook paper because there's this great store in my area where you can buy used donated craft supplies. It's like a thrift store for craft supplies. And all of the sales benefit this amazing STEM activity program in our schools. So I love it that I can buy craft supplies at really basically scrapbook paper by the pound. What a tongue twister. And it goes to support education in my local area. That's just, I always feel good about that. So no matter what, for me, you'll always see tons of scrapbook paper in my work. This is another, I think that this is a digital, maybe, little mushroom stamp. Some more vintage storybook. Again, I just loved the imagery so much. And there's a key again. Like I said, those almost always feature in my work. Another flip out. I like to have a variety of page sizes to work on. I think that that's really important because it kind of inspires my creativity. So this is definitely an open source public domain image from Victoria and Albert Museum. It was a collection of illustrated medieval books that I fell all over myself for. These, I've got some mushrooms. These are from a digital, just fussy cuts. Another flip out. This is just a fun little pocket. As you can see, it's got two little spots. Whoops. Two little spots for ephemera, little fleur-de-lis. I did start making some ephemera kind of with extra. This is made from the pages that were in the journal beforehand. And I just, glued them together, sewed it together so that I had something from the pages that were in this journal before. And then a little glassine bag with some stamped and embossed imagery. There's no guaranteeing that that'll stay there, but it's there. Some digitals, some more collage papers. This is just a wet stencil on notebook paper. And again, as I rebound the pages, I just kind of went through and added whatever I thought was going to be fun. This is, you can see the back of the piano paper attached to the brown craft paper that I had from here in the front. We've got more scrapbook paper. Like, it's really just I made it pretty neutral based because I wanted to have lots of room to explore and play inside. This is, again, I made this from, I think this was an image in a Daphne's Diary magazine, honestly. And then with some die cut birds that someone sent me. And it's just a fun, I was making along and she got included. There's a little cluster. This is an image from, I think, Beatrix Potter. I have a collection of the books that I love to include in my stuff. And we've got a fun pocket. And I think this is, again, just a little, I loved this witch hat collection. I actually recently put this in here over Halloween because I thought these fussy cuts were so beautiful. They're from, I think, Ginger Journals. And I just made a quickie little journal card to stick in. This is a collage envelope that I made from music paper. And then this is, I think, a piece of fun little ephemera from the Graphics Fairy. Yeah, and it has the Magic Shop, Gifts of the Fairies. It's the power to communicate with animals, which who doesn't love? As we go through, there's some more papers. Everything is a little different, and it's all a very eclectic journal. And I think when you're working in such a big size, that can definitely kind of dictate how things go. This I thought was so fun. So I had this piece of vintage music paper that some wonderful little child had obviously scribbled on for me to prepare it for art, right? So I wanted to include that because I thought that was so funny and so cute. And then the name of the song is What Do You Want to Make Those Eyes at Me For? And I had the front of it, which I thought, oh my God, this is so cool. How perfect is this in a junk journal? What do you want to make? So I covered up, I think there was a guy's face on the front that I was not a fan of. So I covered that up with some scrapbook paper and left this here. And I think that's going to make a really fun page. I can't wait to work on that one. Some more scrapbook paper with just some fun sprays. This is, I did some AI experimentation with embroidered imagery. That's just what that is. Some fun. Here's another botanical print. Another kind of ghost fairy. I printed these a little bit lighter so that the imagery wouldn't be so dark. This is a giant envelope. I love policy envelopes, so of course I made one. I decorated it a little bit. I need to add to it, but it's definitely gonna have a permanent home somewhere in this journal. More stamping. Some double-sided digitals. This is fun. Like I said, these are all mostly Frankenstein papers, right? So this is just a piece of scrapbook paper that on the inside, I glued down some fun digital prints with eggs and flowers and neutral colors, added a little ruffle, and it was off and running. Some craft paper. This is a future belly band. I love the way these two papers look together, and I definitely wanted to keep that and maintain that. So this is a digital from, I think, 49 Dragonflies, her Boho Birds collection. Again, just stuff I love. Like, and I think that's what I want the message of this journal to be, is just do what you love, do what has fun and meaning to you, do what speaks to you. There's some more of that embroidery. This was a fun digital. I think this one is from Graphics Fairy, but I love the kind of juxtaposition of the ferns and the skeleton and the bird. It's very pretty, but it's a little creepy, very fun. And then I've just mounted this. This paper is so fragile. So I went ahead and mounted more scrapbook paper onto that to kind of remind me when I work through it that that music paper with our good friends Editions is really fragile, and I need to be mindful of that when I work in it. Some more Eiffel Tower. I love the Eiffel Tower, so that's always in something I'm making. And just some general neutral papers. It's all pretty just simple and basic, but that's going to be half the fun, I think, is working through it here on YouTube and experimenting and playing and having everyone kind of come along with me. I loved this, the song title here, Tiny Little Fingerprints. Like, could you get any more mixed media than that? Some experiments with paper. Here's a little cluster. Botanical prints. I try not to leave a lot of white pages because they can be a little intimidating when you go to work on things. But there definitely are some in here. And there's that vintage storybook. This guy, I loved this guy, so that's why I included this page. I think he's so awesome. With his little bag of treasure. And we'll flip out on some craft paper. This is a pocket. Just, I don't know if you can see it or not, but this has got some beautiful, some of these pages have some really beautiful shimmer on them. Here's a fun, this is going to be, I specifically wanted to have something where I could do a big giant tag, and this is going to be, this is me planning for the future here. And this is again an open domain image, scrapbook paper. This is under paper from my work table, just kind of used as a decoupage paper. Some more stamping. Digitals. You know, like I said, I didn't do a lot here. I put some things in and I put some things on, but I didn't really go deep into the journal itself because that's something that I want to kind of save to bring everyone along with me. Some dyed papers. My roots are in the depths of the woods. I loved that quote. Had to have it in here. This is a digital masterboard. Some fun lace. Paper. This is another open source image, the Queen of the Meads. Lotus blossoms. I love lotus blossoms. So this is one of my favorite stamps. They had to go in here. There's some tea-dyed papers, some tea-dyed scrapbook paper. Like I said, a variety of paper and a variety of sizes. This is so fun. This is obviously from the Hansel and Gretel story. And as you can see, we have Gretel shoving the old witch into the oven, which I thought was hilarious and I got a kick out of. We've got our little bunny up here. And yeah, so it found its way into my journal. And there, isn't that precious? Oh, I love it. Roses. Some more of my messy dyed painty papers. And there you go. Wait, I think we've got one more signature to go. Yeah. So it is a 1, 2, 3, 4 signature journal, by the way. I didn't think to look at that before I told everybody. This is, again, just more experimenting with AI imagery. Souvenir. Here's a pocket, ready to be decorated. I think this page, yeah, this page has got some gesso on it. Digital, under paper. Love Miss Goldilocks breaking the chair, right? And I didn't, you know, the text on this wasn't as important to me. I loved the background colors of this. That's one of the things I loved when I found the book was that it had like a very moody, darker palette, which I thought was really cool. It would go well with kind of vintagey feel. Some nuts, another owl, butterfly. This is a good example of just random things that I do. So I had this little short page and I just kind of glued another page onto it so that when I come to work in the journal, I've got a really fun little interactive moment to play with. Here's some, I think this is craft paper with gesso and wet stencil on top. Some more fun. This actually came on the digital. I did not do that. I like to leave papers folded at weird angles or crunched up. I think that adds to the character. Right here, I just glued in a paper bag that I had tea dyed to hold a tag. There's some fun mushrooms on the front. I think this is a napkin maybe. Interesting little witch. Fairy, not sure. I do think that is from a Halloween collection though, maybe. Fun little mushrooms. I do want to do more pages like this that are a little bit just kind of cobbled together. I really like that look. I'm drifting back to Dreamland. Again, I chose a lot of the music papers in this for the names of the songs because I just thought that they were awesome. Here's a really pretty butterfly. This is a digital of a vintage wallpaper. And on the inside, I've got this really cool egg speckle pattern. Just a neutral background. This was a digital that I thought was really cool. So there she is. Another owl. Like, I hope that you get a sense of the variety that I tried to include. So there's lots of 8.5 by 11 papers, but there's also a lot of smaller papers, different kinds of papers, because I wanted to have lots of things to experiment with. That's another open source image, I believe. Scrapbook paper. You know, I love the way these all look just kind of layered on top of each other. I think that's so beautiful. Here's a fun page from the vintage storybook. We're getting to the end here. Some more scrapbook paper. This is a double pocket. So there's a pocket in the back and then a pocket under the eyelet lace. This I've just got paper clipped in. It's another collage envelope from a handmade music sheet. Again, just kind of love the way it looked, so there it was. And we've got this imagery and then a little card at the back. I did this here intending, like, I very much know that I'm going to build out this page kind of as I work in the journal. So I left that there on purpose. And there's another shot of that beautiful Tim Holtz fabric. So as you can see, it's a very, very fun, very, very big, I hope very inspiring journal. And I'm really looking forward to working through it and including kind of the pages and the ideas and all the things that I want to do, and bringing everyone along with me. So thanks for joining me today, guys. I'm really excited to have you here, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for my channel and for this journal. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.